riders and learners. I want to talk a little bit. What is the speed limit? Oh, technically I'm going too fast. I need to be careful, because the speed limit is 55. Yikes. So I'm coming back from a retreat where, so I work in education, and the retreat was mainly focused around men of color in education, especially in independent school education. And it was probably the best professional development, if you want to call it professional development. I'd probably call it personal development as well. You may even argue that the best professional development is personal development, actually. So I was happy to be a part of this and connect with other men in education, especially men of color. We were able to have great insight and conversations about absolutely everything. I mean, we talked about what it's like to be a man in education, what it's like to be a man of color in education. We talked about privilege, working in predominantly white spaces, and how challenging that can be. The emotions, right? The emotions of being a man, not being able to, feeling like you're not able to talk through your feelings. Our society doesn't want that. Alpha male versus beta males, what that really means, is that even a real thing? Those expectations, are they realistic or not? I mean, we went even so far to even talk about branching off of that. We even talked about Will Smith and Jada. I mean, I wasn't expecting us to go that far and talk about Will and Jada, but it really connected very well to the alpha male and the beta male mentality. And also thinking about if we as men, but also specifically really we as men of color, are we able to make mistakes? Are we able to show our frustration? Are we able to be emotional? Are we able to be human beings? And that's a great, that was a great conversation. I don't want to go through all of it because some of that is very, private to the group. But the perspectives that were shown there, I mean, and just being able to have a space to be vulnerable and talk about what it's like to be us, I mean, it was absolutely remarkable. It really was. So, I wish this was something we could do every year. I really do. But, they do have this every year. But I believe, and I did hear that the content does change from year to year. If you're interested, look up the Glasgow Group, LLC. But, so I think this is especially for folks in education, if that is you. Men of color in education. But something to think about, for sure. I guess there's a, thinking about that Will Smith and, I originally said Will and Jada, which is interesting. What in the name? That is open, sir. Originally I said Will and Jada, and it's actually not Will and Jada. Well, I guess it is, but it's interesting that that's where my mind went. In actuality, part of our larger conversation. I definitely, oh, for the love of God, more traffic. The metropolitan areas. How I don't miss thee. How I don't miss thee. But that was just a part of it. I just bring it up because it was a part of our larger conversation. I do not want this vlog to be a Will and Jada vlog. I have no interest in making that happen. Oh, the Easy Pass lane is closed anyway, so I need to understand the reasoning for having the Easy Pass lane closed. Like, are they doing construction on it, or what's going on here? I-95, and I have 95 miles to go here. Do not tell me that people are slowing. See, this is the thing I don't understand. Rubbernecking. Why do we, especially if everyone's okay, why do we care what's happening over here? Ay, Dios, cara. It's just, we waste each other's time by just looking at all this stuff. It just doesn't make any sense. It's troubling, folks. It's troubling. So, you know, at the end of our session today, so it was from Friday to Sunday. Today's Sunday. At the end of our session, we talked about having a reflection of how we felt throughout this weekend. And one of the things I shared was that initially I actually forgot that we were doing this, that I even signed up for this. Oh, yo, this is a merge. There's nothing worse than a merge. There's nothing worse than a merge. I'll tell you right now. I'm supposed to be an hour and a half away from this place, and I'm actually not. Anyway. Oh, Lord, have us mercy. Sorry, I need to just focus on this for a hot minute. I'm gonna do this. Thank you. Anywho, so one of the interesting things to me about this was that I ended up forgetting that we were doing this, but I made up in my mind, no matter how this went, that this was going to be a mental health trip. Right, just to regain myself and my focus for the next month. Right, our school ends in June, early June, and so for this last month, right, or the last push, as I would say, I wanted to make sure that my mind and my soul was ready to end this year off strong. And so, you know, one of the things I said to them was that this is going to be a mental health trip. And one of the ways that it was going to be that was this, right? So taking my motorcycle using it to travel. I wasn't going to have the school fly me out. I wasn't going to have I wasn't going to drive. I was going to do this, right? So this bike was initially, hey bruh, this bike was purchased for that reason, and actually it became so much more. So I ended up actually using this bike now for mental health trips, you know, trips to the mountains, all sorts of things. And you know, this vlog is, the idea behind it is that as well. Oh my god, what is happening? So I told him that with that decision to make this a mental health trip, you know, I was going to ride my bike here in the spirit of something that I would call comfort through vulnerability. And my purchase of this motorcycle is in the spirit of that. Right? To ride a motorcycle, I mean, you know you're going to be vulnerable, right? But you have to be comfortable with that type of vulnerability. You have to be. You have to be comfortable with the fact that anything can happen at any time. You have to be comfortable with the fact that you have to always be attentive and aware. You have to be in the understanding that you are going to need to control every bit and piece of this machinery. You are the one that's in control of it, not the machine and not anybody else, only you. You know, you have to be comfortable with the fact that your family may not like that you've made this decision. You have to be comfortable with all these different things. So finding comfort through vulnerability is something that I've constantly been preaching myself in order to be better at all the things that need more improvement. And I use the bike as a connection point for that. And so I told him that, and I told him that through those conversations, right, we had a lot of vulnerable conversations. We had a lot of tough conversations in exploring each other's masculinity, talking through, you know, social events, talking through the challenging parts of working where we work. It was beautiful. So it continued the theme of comfort through vulnerability. It continued that theme, and I really appreciate what this day has become. Also, another thing, I mean, look at me being on the highway, I-95 right now, which I've never ridden on I-95 with my motorcycle. Comfort through vulnerability. I'm going through DC. I've actually never ridden my motorcycle through, I mean, Raleigh's kind of crazy too, but it's not DC. I've never done this before. Here we are, comfort through vulnerability. That's the theme. Everyone is on the bike. Respect. Everybody's on the bike. Love that. So anyway, that's just me just talking through what we did together as a group. It was, wow. I want to be able to create that type of community at my school, my institution, where we can have those types of conversations, not only amongst, you know, people, men of color, people of color, but amongst everybody. I would love for our school to be able to do that. Really, I mean, that's me saying I would love for the people at our school to be comfortable enough to have that, and for it to be meaningful. But we'll see. As they say, build it and they shall come. So we'll see how that goes, folks. We'll see how that goes. Man, if I'm not practicing lane positioning during this trip, let me tell you. Let me tell you. So I clearly downshifted way too early, and that is a problem. 7 minutes. What in the blue moon is going on here? The thing is, Richmond is not far from DC. It really isn't. So all this, you know, there's too many people in this world, man. Cool bike. I don't know if I see those bikes like that. I just don't know if I can be in that position the entire time. The sports bike, yeah, I don't know if I could be in that position the entire time. I don't know. That seems a little uncomfortable. It seems cool. Like a Ducati, I would love to rent out a Ducati and just ride it. I'm afraid that I'll probably kill myself, but you know, that level of power is